Okay, we're recording. So anyway, here we go. So now I'm going to have to do after I unload the mod and reload the game so you know what it looked like before. Actually, you can go to well. So anyway, so this guy was right on the edge of that cliff. So these are the changes that you made. So this thing is a whole lot steeper than it used to be.
Yeah, you sometimes have to jump to get up it.
Yeah, it's a little too much. I would say notch that back a little bit. Not you don't have to do much, but I would notch that. It's just a bit too steep because otherwise you're gonna have to put stairs in or something to get up there. And it's supposed to look like it washed away by the rain and the weather. Is what it's supposed to look like. So, and then over here are my crops. Oh, another one of my water pumps that is now underground. You might be interested in reducing the grass. That you put
Yeah,
a lot of grass in here. Holy shit.
that's all default gas. That's all default grass.
Oh, okay.
I didn't touch the grass at all.
It could probably be scrapped with mods then, or some of it might be able to. So anyway, so that's I'm just showing where the building used to be and how it's all kind of glitched, looking pretty odd with your building in its place. And let's go in the barn that you left, that was a good idea because the barn is usable. I mean, why not use it, right?
Yep.
So and it's good for a workshop, which is all you really need. And then here's the part where your quarter round or whatever you did, the end piece is actually right through where my sleeping bag and stuff is in one of my cottages. So, and then so I'll go around the other side here where my junk wall is, and when you see this video, you'll get a chuckle out of it because it shows you how much stuff you have removed, like where you see the Nuka-Cola machine and the little junk pile that normally that where the couch is, the couch you can't scrap.
Yeah.
Okay, well I made it. So since you can't get rid of it, I just made an actual junk pile out of the whole thing. So now you
Okay.
can see all the junk that I stuck in there. So and when you get to the back, you can really see where the elevation was originally. And you made quite a change here by chopping off this hill. It's really really steep, and since you can't build out here, you're gonna have some pretty mediocre. You're gonna have some trouble with defenses. But I think if you just, I'm focusing on a spot right now. I was gonna show you where the tree was. Okay, so you can get it. I'm just doing a spin around the tree here, and
Hey, I'm gonna be heading out.
there you go again, Adam, with your voice. All right,
Oh
Adam.
God,
Take it easy, Adam.
See you later. So
I
this,
will be coming back though.
okay. So anyway, so this is yeah. I'll be here for a while. So that's the clump I was telling you about, but then the one you found is the three tree clump or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and I got a stump sticking up out of the air. But most of the time, this is buried underground anyway, so that's neither here nor there. But anyway, yeah, the water treatment thingy that's a good idea. I like it.
That's good.
Yeah, so I would just, if you can make it look more like
Make it more natural.
yeah, you just need to add some piles of debris at the bottom so it looks like it's sloughed off and caved to the bottom. And I'm going to focus on a particular spot here. Uh, and it's at, let's see, what is it at? 4.5 minutes or so. And you can see like where they took smaller pieces of the same material and kind of stuffed it in there. But basically, it looks like a bunch of vertical streaks. So the texture's off. That's all.
Okay.
But if you throw some rubble in there, and I'm going to stop at another rubble pile, um, and you just add a few of these, I think it would go a long way to um, not being so obvious. Uh, because normally this is a big rock pile here, basically, that extends into your um, into Coastal Cottage. So yeah, or you could, like I said, you could just add it, that rock wall and just move it back to where you have it now and just leave that open. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
So, and the only other thing I think I might add a couple of, I'd probably stick a tractor out here someplace, maybe or because your premises is that the guy was starting to work on this place, but died before he ever got anywhere. So hopefully you have a note in the footlocker that explains that, with a date on it or whatever, so everybody knows it. But other than that, yeah, I think this would be for people who want, flat and smooth build areas. But this is pretty freaking good if you ask me. You
How
might.
would you
Hmm?
how would you alter it to satisfy, say, the people who like the contours of the land? Like, put a little
Uh,
riverbed going through it or something, or
I'm sorry. Say what?
make like a little riverbed going through it or something, or
No, because then your pond and purifier thingy wouldn't work. You can make your pond a little bit bigger, maybe. That would be not be too bad. It kind of looks like it's disproportionate. You got this giant purifier in there, and or shrink the pure. You could shrink the purifier too. You could just reduce the size of it,
mm-hmm.
20%, and it might look okay. It just, it looks like it almost looks like the pond is kind of settled in around it. Maybe just widen it out a little bit. Close, push,
Okay.
the slope back towards the trees a bit more is what I'm saying.
Make it about as big as like when you Starlight Drive.
Uh, yeah, I guess sure. Push, like I said, you can because there's enough build area out here. Let me put the border back on, and yeah, you could push the trees back a little bit, and because if they were on on the edge of the build line, so as long as they're still scrappable. And actually, you could do a thing where you had some swamp trees in there, like out of murk water. You know,
Okay.
some those murk water stumps might look kind of cool. If you got um, there just isn't enough. If it's been here for 200 years, things would have started cropping up. Is what I'm saying. So maybe some brambles or something, and a couple of patches of brambles, scrappable brambles. It gives you, a couple of wood. Um, and yeah, I would definitely move the front slope that you have closer back to the way it was, but right in the middle, so it looks like it's a drainage area. Because where's the rain draining? For 200 years, there'd be like little rivulets or something, maybe, So, which you can't really do. And then I was going to suggest I don't know where you had your crops. You said you had crops here. Oh, just the razor grain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Over to the, let's see, it would be that would be east of your. I got to get around there somehow. I got a big wall in my way. You'll see this when you look at the video. What I'll do is I'll upload it and make it private so you can. It probably won't work either. I know they have like garden plots because when I go to when I have my scrapping mods loaded, they have planting furrows. Like at the Nuka World Red Rocket, or the most common ones you see are at
Sunshine Tidings.
yep, Sunshine Tiding Co-op, and put one or two of those down. Like you might have had some crops out here at one time, or because when you go to Nuka World, there's some gourds there and a few other odds and ends. you know,
Okay.
and I think there's one mute fruit tree. So it's so you could make it look a bit more like the guy was actually here. What did you actually have in the house or in the shack or whatever you want to call it?
Ooh, in the shack, there was just the footlocker and the skeleton of the dead scientist.
And the dead scientist. You got to have a bit more in there. You got to have, yeah, because he was living here. You said so. Wouldn't he not have some furniture? Some
Well,
dilapidated furniture or something, or at least one of those broken down beds that you see in Sanctuary when you first get there. He's
in
been
my
dead for
mind,
for 200 years. He's been dead.
in
What?
my mind, the raiders came and they scavenged the area. They sold all the furniture and all the beds and such.
Well, okay, but it's a little too barren, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If nothing else, just put some debris piles in there. I don't know what you call them. I mean, they're just debris piles that you see everywhere. You can pick them up and move them around. You've seen me do it a million times. It comes out of custom vanilla assets is where I get mine, but I use them all the time. And I could load it up and show you what I'm talking about too. But um, yeah, I would just, for instance, like did you clean the floor inside the barn?
I cleaned it a little bit, but I added a water puddle to give the illusion that because of the broken roof,
Rough. Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
water was pouring in.
No, I like that. That's a good touch. The only problem with that touch is that if you build anything over that, guess what? Unless you did something special, nope. It's now on my bed that I just built there. So that's the problem with putting those water puddles in like that, because they're I forget what they're called now. But anyway, so
Hmm.
I mean it looks good, but as soon as somebody tries to build something right there, it's going to um, distort the. It's going to be distorted. So what I would do is probably take that out so that it looks cool. I'm not arguing that, but from a build
Okay.
standpoint, that's why you see in Bethesda they use that very sparingly, not usually where you're going to build, and they just put down some debris piles. And if you remember, this thing was like loaded with debris. So you'd have some maybe a broken roof piece, make it scrappable, a couple of piles of debris, some cans. They got debris with bricks or cans and boards and whatnot, and
Okay.
and do the same inside the shack area. You want to make it look a bit more ramshackled than it's too pristine. So okay, I got a phone call coming in.